Welcome back to English from A to Z. It's really fantastic to have you with us for another deep dive. Today, we're peeling back the layers on something incredibly vital and, well, often frustrating for so many dedicated learners out there. We're talking about the journey to English fluency.
Mm.
We've received some truly insightful source material lately, and it really challenges a lot of the conventional wisdom about language learning.
It really does.
Yeah, offering not just, a fresh perspective, but what looks like a genuinely transformative method.
Absolutely. It's all about unlocking that next level, isn't it?
Right.
Moving beyond where, well, let's face it, many learners feel undeniably stuck
That stuck feeling, yeah.
and finding that elusive freedom in speaking. That's the goal. Indeed.
This deep dive is singularly focused on understanding a pervasive problem. Why do so many dedicated English learners, and we're talking people investing significant time, real effort,
Months, sometimes years, right?
Yeah.
Daily practice. Exactly. Months, even years of daily practice still find themselves, well, unable to articulate their thoughts freely or, confidently, naturally in conversation.
Right.
So our mission today is to unpack what the source calls a tough but ultimately effective method, one that promises to fundamentally reshape your approach to speaking, and crucially, will also reveal a powerful yet deceptively simple secret, something to make that often perceived painful process feel not just easier,
Easier would be good.
definitely easier, but also genuinely engaging, maybe even, dare I say, fun.
Okay.
At its core, it's about making a really profound shift,
Yeah.
moving from simply, consuming information.
Like watching videos, reading.
Right, moving from consuming to actively, creatively producing it yourself. That's the key.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit then. Do you ever find yourself, diligently studying English every single day? Maybe you're devouring YouTube videos or meticulously using those language apps, listening intently to English songs, maybe even reading complex articles or books.
Putting in the hours.
Totally. You're putting in the work, you feel busy, you feel productive, it feels good. But then the moment arrives, the opportunity to actually speak. You're in a real situation,
The moment of truth.
and your mind just goes blank.
Yeah, that feeling.
The words don't come out, or maybe they emerge haltingly, awkwardly, just like a pale shadow of what you actually intended to say.
Oh, I think many listeners will recognize that feeling.
If that gut-wrenching feeling resonates with you, you are absolutely not alone. This is an incredibly common hurdle.
Yeah.
And profoundly frustrating.
It really is.
So many learners hit this wall, and it can lead to some deeply discouraging thoughts, can it? Like, maybe I'm just not good at English,
Or
or...
maybe I just don't have a knack for languages.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot.
Exactly. But our sources today, they offer a really revolutionary perspective on this. They basically tell us the problem isn't you.
That's crucial.
More often than not, the problem is the method you're using. So this deep dive, we're going to meticulously explain why that happens, why that gap exists between understanding and speaking. And we'll also introduce this revolutionary approach to language acquisition. Plus, that simple, powerful mindset shift that we mentioned, it could change your entire perspective on learning.
It really could.
So stick with us, because here's where it gets really interesting. We're about to hopefully transform how you think about achieving true fluency.
The comfortable trap, why input isn't enough.
So let's kick things off by exploring what our source material very aptly labels the comfortable trap.
I like that phrase, comfortable trap.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It describes that magnetic pull that draws so many language learners, especially, at the beginner and intermediate stages, into a particular pattern of effort.
Right. The path of least resistance, maybe?
Kind of, yeah. Most people, when they start their English learning adventure, they instinctively, and it's quite understandable, they concentrate heavily on what linguists call input.
Taking information in.
Exactly. Taking it in. Think about it. You're reading English novels, you're watching movies or documentaries, streaming YouTube videos. listening to podcasts like this one.
Or doing structured lessons, maybe using flashcard apps.
Right, all that stuff, absorbing new vocabulary, new grammar rules. It's this endless stream of passively receiving the language.
Mhm.
And let's be honest, this method feels incredibly productive, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You feel like you're doing something.
Yeah. It gives you this really potent sense of progress because your brain is constantly absorbing new words. It's deciphering grammatical structures, picking up new idioms and phrases. It genuinely feels like you're doing something impactful for your English learning every single day.
You feel busy, engaged.
Totally.
Hmm.
Busy, engaged, and you feel like you're steadily building up this vast reservoir of knowledge.
A mental library.
Exactly. A library. It's a very alluring, very comfortable place to be in your learning journey. Feels safe.
Comfortable, but maybe a trap.
Precisely. And our source uses a really vivid analogy here to illustrate this exact point.
The food analogy.
Yeah. It's like shopping for food. You go to the grocery store, you fill your basket with fresh vegetables, premium cuts of meat, exotic spices from around the world.
Sounds delicious.
Doesn't it? Your kitchen is now absolutely bursting with ingredients. You've meticulously stocked up, haven't you? You've got all this raw potential for a truly magnificent meal.
Right. The pantry is full.
So for many of you listening right now, can you relate to this feeling? That sense of accumulation, of having your brain's pantry just packed to the brim with English words, grammar rules, all the theory.
Mm-hmm. The theoretical knowledge is there.
You feel this incredible potential, don't you? Like you're just on the cusp of creating something amazing with your English.
You feel ready.
Fullness.
Ready.
But then what happens next in that analogy? And why do so many of us, despite this really impressive accumulation, still find ourselves struggling to actually cook,
Yeah,
to speak?
that's precisely it. And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how easily, how subtly we can confuse that activity.
All that study.
Right, all that busyness. Confuse it with actual progress, especially when we're talking about developing a truly active skill like speaking a new language.
It's not the same thing.
Not at all. The core issue, as our source meticulously points out, is that knowing many words is not the same as speaking. It's just not.
Okay.
To extend your excellent analogy, the critical transformative question becomes, can you actually cook a meal?
Right. Can you use the ingredients?
Exactly. Having a kitchen absolutely overflowing with ingredients, no matter how high quality or diverse they are, doesn't automatically grant you the ability to whip up a gourmet dish.
Doesn't make you a chef.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It just means you possess the raw materials. The skill of cooking, like the skill of speaking, is a separate, active process. It requires practice, technique, experimentation.
So input is inherently passive.
Predominantly passive, yes.
Yeah.
Your brain is primarily receiving information, consuming it. It's a bit like watching a cooking show or reading a recipe book.
Okay, I see.
Now, this phase is absolutely vital, don't get me wrong. It builds that foundational knowledge. You need to know what ingredients exist, what generally goes into a dish.
Read the
Okay?
vocabulary, the grammar rule.
Absolutely. But input alone doesn't inherently demand the kind of significant cognitive effort required to produce language yourself. It doesn't ask you to formulate your own unique thoughts into coherent spoken English, especially not in real time, under pressure.
It doesn't make you search for a word.
Exactly. Your brain isn't actively searching through its lexicon to find the perfect word for your idea. It's not constructing sentences from scratch based on your communicative need. It's not grappling with grammatical rules in the heat of the moment, trying to express something spontaneous.
Just taking it in.
It's just taking it all in,
Yeah.
which, psychologically speaking, is the path of least resistance. Our brains are kind of wired for efficiency, right? And passive consumption requires far less mental energy than active creation.
Makes sense.
And this passive absorption, this is precisely what our source identifies as the comfortable trap.
There it is again.
You feel busy, you're deeply engaged with the language, which is wonderful in many ways, but you're not actually building the specific active skill of speaking,
The speaking muscle.
the speaking muscle. There's a fundamental disconnect between merely receiving knowledge and the active, dynamic, often messy application of that knowledge in fluid conversation.
Yeah, messy is a good word for it sometimes.
It can be, but that's okay. The point is, the brain isn't working hard enough in the right way to develop that particular speaking muscle, as we'll explore more.
Beyond the trap, embracing the painful path.
And this leads us directly, doesn't it, to that pivotal moment in the language learning journey. The one many of us, I suspect, have experienced firsthand.
Oh, definitely. That moment of realization.
Yeah, after months, sometimes even years, of dedicated input, our brains full of English words, just like that perfectly stocked kitchen we talked about, we hit a wall, the plateau. We have all the pieces, right? All the ingredients. But still, we cannot cook. We cannot speak fluently, or maybe even just comfortably.
The gap is still there.
And this isn't just a minor setback, is it? It's often the critical juncture. The moment most people reach where the frustration just boils over, and they might sadly declare, "This is too hard, I give up."
It's a common breaking point.
It really is. They genuinely begin to believe they failed. Or worse, that they're simply not cut out for language learning, that it's some inherent lack of ability.
Which is so rarely the case.
Right. This feeling of being stuck, of having invested so much consistent effort only to feel inadequate when it matters, it can be incredibly discouraging. It leads to this profound sense of self-doubt.
It can really knock your confidence.
Totally. But listen closely, everyone, because this is where our source offers a truly powerful, almost liberating reframing of this whole situation.
This is the good part.
It really is. The source emphatically states, "You have not failed. You have just finished step 1. Now you are ready for step 2.
Wow. Okay.
Isn't that something? It's not just a clever turn of phrase. It completely shifts the entire perspective.
It reframes the whole experience.
Exactly. All those months, all that diligent input you put in, gathering vocabulary, learning grammar, they were absolutely not wasted. Far from it.
They were necessary.
They were essential preparation. Think of it like gathering all your construction materials before you build a house.
Laying the foundation.
Perfect analogy. Step 1 builds that necessary mental inventory, that foundational scaffold of vocabulary and grammar. Without it, you'd have nothing to build with, nothing to say.
Right. You need the words.
But now, and this is the crucial part, you've reached a point where you actually have enough stored knowledge, enough ingredients, enough bricks and mortar to start doing something with it.
You're equipped.
You're equipped.
Yeah.
Step 2 is where the real learning begins, at least in terms of developing active fluency. It's where you start to actively use that impressive foundation you've painstakingly built.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, this fundamentally redefines what failure means in language learning.
It's not failure at all.
It's not a dead end. It's not a definitive sign that you should quit or that you lack inherent talent. Instead, it's a necessary and actually a welcome transition point.
A sign you're ready for more?
Exactly. It's a signal that your brain is ready for a new kind of challenge, a higher level of engagement, a different kind of work.
Okay.
Now, our source describes this step 2 as the painful part.
Okay, here it comes. The pain.
Yeah, and let's be honest, it can feel that way initially, but, and this is key, it immediately follows that by equating this pain with your brain building a new muscle.
Like exercise pain, good pain.
Precisely like exercise pain. Think about it. When you start a new workout routine, maybe lifting weights or running,
Oh.
the first few times are uncomfortable, right?
Oh, yeah. Sore for days.
Sometimes genuinely painful. Your muscles ache, you feel weak, you struggle to lift that weight or hold that pose for more than a few seconds.
Been there.
But that discomfort isn't a sign of failure, is it?
No, it means it's working.
Exactly. It's a clear, unmistakable sign of growth. It's your body adapting, getting stronger, building new capabilities, new connections.
Right, right.
The same principle applies directly to your language brain. That feeling of struggle when you try to speak, that awkwardness, that feeling of having to reach for words, maybe fumbling with grammar, that's precisely the sensation of your brain creating new neural pathways.
Really? It's physical?
Well, neurological, it's strengthening its ability to retrieve vocabulary quickly, to form grammatical structures on the fly, to articulate thoughts spontaneously. It is building connections.
So the struggle is the growth.
The struggle is the growth. It's the feeling of genuine development. It's your linguistic muscles getting their much-needed workout. Without that pain, there's no gain.
Okay. So what does this all mean for you, our dedicated listener right now listening to this? It means recognizing that the path to real fluency demands a profound shift in your entire approach. It's not just about doing more input.
No, it's a different kind of activity.
It's about moving decisively away from that comfortable passive consumption and wholeheartedly embracing active creation, speaking, writing.
Taking the leap.
Yeah, it means reframing that discomfort, that mental ache, not as failure, but as a positive sign that you're on the right track, that you're actively building something new and powerful within your brain.
It's progress.
It's progress. It's an invitation to step bravely out of the familiar, comfortable territory of just listening and reading and into the transformative, challenging arena of true linguistic production. So the question is, are you ready to feel that glorious, productive burn of growth? Because that pain we're talking about, it isn't punishment. It's simply progress in its most raw, undeniable form.
The output method in action practical application.
Exactly. And the powerful method we're really talking about here, the antidote to that comfortable trap, it's all about output.
Output, okay.
As our source defines it with refreshing clarity, output means creating something yourself. Simple as that.
Makes sense.
In the context of language learning, the primary and most effective forms of output are, unsurprisingly, speaking and writing.
The active skills.
The active skills. And this isn't just about, rote repetition of phrases you memorized or passively reciting dialogues from a textbook.
Not just mimicking.
No, it's about active, deliberate construction. It's about taking those individual ingredients you've meticulously gathered in your mental kitchen.
The vocabulary, the grammar.
Right, and actually attempting to cook a meal with them, to blend them into something entirely new, something meaningful, something genuinely yours.
Your own thoughts, your own sentences.
Precisely. And this process, by its very nature, forces your brain to engage in a fundamentally different way. It's far more demanding, yes, but ultimately much more effective. You're moving from being a passive recipient of information,
just taking it in,
to being an active formulator, a creator of language.
Okay, this sounds good in theory, but let's make it really concrete. How does this actually work in practice?
Great question. We need to see the difference this approach makes day to day.
Yeah. Our source provides a brilliant, simple example that I think resonates with almost everyone. Imagine you're at a cafe and you want to order a drink. A classic scenario.
Happens all the time.
All the time. Okay, first, let's look at the easy way. The input-only approach that many of us, are accustomed to or might default to.
The comfortable way.
The comfortable way. You might reach for a language app or recall a phrase from a lesson, something simple and prefabricated like, "Can I have a coffee, please?"
Standard phrase.
Standard phrase. And yes, absolutely, this is useful. Let's be clear. It's perfectly adequate for basic, predictable situations. You can get your coffee, and that feels like a small, reassuring victory.
You achieved the goal.
You did. But as our source critically points out, this approach is very limited in its application. It doesn't build truly adaptable speaking skills.
Why limited?
Well, you've successfully deployed one specific phrase for one specific scenario, but you haven't really learned how to speak more broadly or how to adapt if the situation changes even slightly. What if you want something more specific than just a coffee? What if you want decaf or oat milk or no sugar?
Or what if the barista asks a follow-up question you didn't anticipate?
Exactly. What kind of milk? What size? For here or to go? That single memorized phrase suddenly becomes a dead end. You're stuck again.
Right. Limited utility.
Very limited. Now let's compare that to what the source calls the painful way, the output first method.
Okay, the muscle-building way.
Exactly. This is where the magic and yes, the struggle truly happens.
Let's hear it.
Okay, step one. You think about what you really want to say in your own native language first, perhaps. What's the actual thought?
The authentic communication need.
Precisely, not just ticking a box or finding the closest simple phrase. For instance, maybe your true desire, your internal thought is, I would like a large iced Americano with just a little bit of oat milk and absolutely no syrup.
Okay, specific.
A specific, nuanced thought you want to express.
Right.
Step two. And this is the absolutely crucial step, the core of the method. You attempt to say this in English.
Just try.
Just try, and here's the kicker. You do it without any help initially. Don't immediately reach for your phone. Don't open the translator app. Don't frantically search your memory for a perfect phrase. Just try.
Okay, this is the scary part.
This is the difficult moment. The moment of raw, unassisted production. You can almost feel it in your gut, right? That hesitation.
Performance anxiety.
Totally. Maybe you awkwardly blurt out something like, I want big ice Americano, oat milk small, no sugar syrup.
Clunky.
Incredibly clunky. It feels awkward. Your grammar might be imperfect. Your word choice simple, maybe even a little unnatural sounding.
You know it's wrong.
You know it's not quite right. That internal feeling of struggle, that cringe maybe, that palpable gap between what you want to say and what you can say in that moment.
That's feeling.
That feeling, our source emphasizes, is the pain. It's your brain working, grappling, stretching its current limits.
Okay. So you feel the pain.
Yeah.
Then what?
Step three. And only after you've made that brave, unassisted attempt, now you find the correct way.
Okay. After the attempt.
After, now, and only now, you can consult your translator or ask a patient friend or teacher or diligently look it up in a dictionary or online. You investigate.
You seek the solution.
Right. And through that active process of searching because you felt the gap, you discover the proper, more natural phrasing. Maybe it's, could I get a large iced Americano with a splash of oat milk? Or perhaps, a large iced Americano with just a hint of oat milk, no syrup, please.
Much better. More natural.
Exactly. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Because if we pause and just look at the profound difference between those two approaches, the easy phrase versus the painful attempt then discovery,
It's huge.
it's monumental, isn't it? In the first easy way, you just learned one phrase. It was handed to you, neatly packaged. You were dependent on an external source.
Passive learning.
Passive learning.
Other than-
In the second way, the painful way, you tried, you struggled, and importantly, through that very struggle, you discovered. You actively participated in the creation of that knowledge for yourself.
And this is precisely where the brain's engagement shifts dramatically, right?
Right.
It moves from just passive reception to intense, active problem solving.
Exactly.
In that output-first scenario, your brain isn't merely recording information like some kind of tape recorder. It's working incredibly hard. It's firing on all cylinders, so to speak.
Oh, so what's it doing?
Well, it actively searches through its stored vocabulary all those words you learn through input. It attempts to construct a coherent sentence using its current understanding of grammar rules. It makes a mistake.
The big ice Americano attempt.
Right. It makes a mistake. And crucially, it feels the inadequacy or the awkwardness of that mistake, that pain signal.
Okay.
And then, because it felt that gap, it actively seeks and finds the more accurate solution, a splash of oat milk. This entire cycle.
By struggle, discover.
Yes, that cycle is a much more active, dynamic, and cognitively demanding workout for your brain. It's less like passively absorbing data and much more like solving a complex real-world puzzle.
A puzzle tailored just for me.
Exactly. Tailored specifically to your immediate communicative needs in that moment.
Okay, I'm starting to see the power here. What are the long-term implications?
The implications are truly profound. This active, effortful process creates a very strong memory, much stronger than just memorizing,
Why stronger?
because your brain worked intensely for that knowledge. It didn't just receive it passively, it earned it through effort. The struggle, the problem solving, the aha moment of discovery, all of that etches the phrase like a splash of oat milk or a hint of into your memory far more deeply and accessibly.
So you're less likely to forget it.
Much less likely, way more accessible than something you just saw on a flashcard once. Yes, this method is slower in the moment. It undeniably feels harder, more effortful. There's no denying that initial discomfort,
The pain.
the pain. But as our source highlights with unwavering certainty, every time you do it, your speaking muscle gets stronger.
Building the muscle again.
Building the muscle. This isn't just a convenient metaphor. It's describing actual neural pathways being reinforced and refined through active effort and targeted error correction. You're not just adding words to your mental dictionary. You're building the cognitive infrastructure.
Like the wiring.
Exactly, the wiring. The retrieval speed, the grammatical flexibility, the confidence to try, building the infrastructure for truly fluent, spontaneous communication. It's the fundamental difference between just seeing a recipe and actually mastering the art of cooking.
Okay, let's try another one. A really common situation. You want to tell a friend about your day. Specifically, maybe you want to say, I was absolutely swamped with work today, or I had a crazy busy day.
Yep, very common expression.
Very common. We use phrases like this all the time in our native language, so applying the output first method.
Take deep breath.
Take a deep breath, push past that initial hesitation, and just try to say it. Maybe your initial attempt comes out as something like, today I work much work, or maybe my day was many busy.
Again, clunky but understandable.
Clunky, maybe understandable, but you feel it, don't you? You feel that struggle again. That little voice in your head pipes up saying, ugh, that doesn't sound quite right. How do I say busy or swamped in a more natural, more impactful way?
That internal feedback loop.
Exactly. That internal question, that moment of recognition that something is off, that your attempt didn't quite land, that's your brain actively identifying a specific gap in its knowledge.
That's the clue.
That, my friend, is your clue. It's a moment of productive friction. It tells you exactly what you need to figure out next.
Absolutely. And that internal friction, that clue, is a far more powerful and targeted teacher than simply being handed the correct phrase from the start, maybe in a vocabulary list about work adjectives.
It makes it personal.
It's personal, and your brain is actively identifying the problem it needs to solve right now. Which means when you do find the correct phrasing, like, I was swamped with work or I had a hectic day, it locks in with a much stronger, more meaningful, and more accessible connection.
So you then go find the better way.
You go find the better way. You might discover phrases like, I was swamped with work today, or simply, I had a very demanding day at work, or things were really hectic.
And look what happened there. You didn't just learn one sentence, did you?
No, you explored options.
You learned from your own personal need to communicate, from the intrinsic desire to express your specific experience, your thought about your day.
That personal investment.
That personal emotional investment propelled you through the struggle to discovery. And our source notes that this connection to genuine communication needs makes it the fastest way to fluency. Because the learning is deeply relevant and, well, sticky.
It sticks because it matters to you.
Exactly.
And this raises an important question. How does this intrinsic motivation, this deeply personal need to express yourself, to bridge that gap between your unique thought and its accurate English expression, how does that accelerate the learning process so dramatically?
Good question. What's the mechanism?
Well, when you're trying to convey something that you genuinely and personally want to say, the emotional investment is significantly higher. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, for sure. You care more.
You care more. This heightened emotional and cognitive engagement leads to much stronger memory formation because there's a real-world context and a personal stake attached to the language you're learning.
It's not abstract anymore.
It's not abstract. You're not just learning for the sake of abstract knowledge like memorizing a list. You're learning to communicate your life, your experiences, your opinions, your feelings.
Which is why we learn languages in the first place.
Precisely. This active problem-solving approach, driven by your own communicative intent, is far more effective than mere rote memorization because it engages multiple parts of your brain in a synergistic effort. From retrieval to grammar construction to that a crucial self-correction piece. It's all working together.
It sounds like you're really making the language yours.
That's a perfect way to put it. Making the language truly yours through personal application, struggle, and discovery.
The game changer, the mindset shift.
Okay, now you might be listening to all of this and thinking, right, this painful method, this output-first approach, it sounds incredibly effective. I can totally see the logic now. But
There's always a but.
there's always a but.
Yeah.
It also sounds, well, genuinely painful, or at least really effortful and potentially embarrassing.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real. How do I keep myself motivated through all that struggle, through all that awkwardness, through those inevitable moments of feeling foolish or self-conscious?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. It's the hurdle where many people stumble, where they might give up on this method even if they believe in it.
Persistence is key.
But remember, at the beginning of this deep dive, I promised we'd share a secret. One simple, powerful idea from our source that will fundamentally transform this entire process.
The way to make the pain easier.
Exactly. Making it feel much, much easier. Maybe even enjoyable. Are you ready for it? Because honestly, this truly changes everything about how you approach speaking practice.
Let's hear it. This is the game changer.
It really is. The secret, as our source so powerfully reveals, is a radical, almost revolutionary shift in perspective regarding your mistakes.
Mistakes. The big fear.
The big fear. But here's the shift. A mistake is not a failure. A mistake is a signpost.
A signpost. I like that.
Isn't it great? It completely overturns the common, deeply ingrained perception of mistakes as something to be avoided at all costs, something embarrassing, or a definitive sign of inadequacy or lack of talent.
We're so conditioned to fear mistakes.
We really are. School systems often reinforce it, but instead mistakes are reframed here as incredibly valuable, highly informative data points. They are essential guides on your personal learning journey.
So not roadblocks, but directions.
Exactly. They are signals, not setbacks. Information, not indictments.
Okay. To truly illustrate this transformative concept, let's think about that lost in a city analogy our source uses. It's quite effective.
Right, the city analogy.
Imagine you're exploring a brand new city, maybe an unfamiliar neighborhood you've never been to before. You're trying to find a specific landmark, or maybe a highly recommended restaurant.
Okay, got it.
You take a turn down a street, following your map or your gut feeling, and after a block or two you realize, oops, this is the wrong way. You've made a mistake in navigation.
Happens all the time.
It does. Now, what do? Do you stop there, throw your hands up in exasperation, declare yourself a fundamentally bad navigator, a failure at urban exploration?
No, that would be ridiculous.
Of course not. You don't get angry at yourself. You don't feel ashamed or stupid. You simply say, okay, this is the wrong way. Now I know. Let me consult my map again, adjust my direction, and try another street.
You use the information.
You use that wrong turn as crucial information to adjust your course, to refine your mental map of the area. Your English mistakes, the source argues, are precisely identical.
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same function. They are not bad outcomes to be ashamed of. They are pure, unadulterated information. They are clues.
Clues, like a
Yeah,
detective.
exactly. Clues that tell you, with pinpoint accuracy, what you need to focus on next. What specific linguistic territory needs a bit more exploration or practice? They are signposts pointing you directly towards greater accuracy and fluency.
Okay, so let's connect that back directly to our output practice examples,
Yeah.
like ordering the coffee or talking about work.
Yeah, let's ground it.
When you bravely attempted to say, I work much work, and you felt that internal awkwardness, that little cringe.
That pain signal.
Right. According to this mindset, that wasn't a failure at all. That was a clue, a bright flashing signpost.
What did the clue say?
That clue told you with absolute precision that you needed to learn how to express the concept of being busy or swamped in English more effectively and naturally.
Specific feedback.
Super specific. It wasn't some vague feeling of inadequacy. It was a targeted, actionable piece of feedback directing your learning. It becomes a perfect personal lesson, tailored precisely for you.
Addressing your specific communication gaps.
Exactly, your immediate needs, which makes it far more impactful and efficient than just randomly studying a list of adjectives you might not even need yet.
Right. Targeted learning.
This truly shifts everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It fundamentally changes your relationship with errors. It takes the fear out.
It defangs the mistake.
It defangs the mistake.
Yeah.
So the new mandate, the new approach is clear. Stop trying to be perfectly flawless every single time you open your mouth to speak English. That's paralyzing.
Perfectionism is the enemy here.
It really is. Instead, start trying to be a detective. Start looking for clues.
That's the profound shift. Every single time you engage in output, whether you're speaking to someone or even just writing an email, your primary objective completely changes.
From avoiding mistakes to, wait,
It shifts from that paralyzing goal of speaking perfectly to the exciting, engaging quest of looking for clues.
looking for clues. I like that.
The question you begin to ask yourself transforms. It's no longer, will I make a mistake? And, oh God, how can I avoid it?
Which causes so much anxiety.
So much anxiety. Instead, the question becomes much more empowering, much more curiosity-driven. Okay, what valuable clue will I find today? What new insight will this attempt reveal about my current English?
That sounds so much less stressful.
It is. This mindset truly fundamentally changes everything. The perceived pain of struggle, which once felt like this daunting barrier, maybe a reason to stay silent,
Yeah.
it transforms into a fascinating game, a game of discovery.
Okay.
And the very act of struggling, which once felt like a source of shame or demotivation, now becomes an exciting adventure. An adventure in finding out what you need to learn next.
So embracing the struggle is part of the fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How does embracing imperfection and even actively seeking it out as a source of invaluable information become the most efficient and fastest pathway to fluency?
Yeah, how does that work? It seems counterintuitive.
It's because it systematically dismantles the debilitating fear of making errors. And that fear is arguably the single greatest paralyzing force for language learners. It stops people from even trying.
The fear of sounding stupid.
Precisely. But when you're no longer afraid of mistakes, when you actually welcome them as useful feedback, as clues,
You're liberated.
you are liberated.
Wow.
Liberated to try, to experiment boldly, to push the boundaries of your current knowledge without that constant nagging self-censorship.
You just go for it.
You just go for it. Your ultimate goal is no longer to speak flawlessly from the outset, which is impossible anyway. Instead, your goal becomes profoundly simpler, yet infinitely more effective.
Which is?
To simply try. To make an authentic attempt to communicate your thought. to find a clue in that attempt, maybe a word you didn't know, a grammar point you weren't sure about, and most importantly, to learn from that specific clue.
Try, find a clue, learn.
That's the loop.
Yeah.
This transforms the entire learning experience from a high-stakes, anxiety-inducing performance.
Like being on stage.
Yeah, into a low-stakes, high-reward exploration. It's discovery, not judgment.
You could almost gamify it, couldn't you?
Yeah. Absolutely. Challenge yourself. Today, I'm going to find 3 new clues in my conversations. Or maintain a little clue journal where you jot down your struggles. Tried to say X, said Y, looked it up, correct way is Z, and their solutions.
Turning mistakes into active learning steps.
Exactly. Do this again and again, consistently practicing output with this detective mindset, hunting for those clues and our source promises quite confidently that your English will improve faster than you can imagine.
Faster than just input alone.
Much faster. Because every single attempt, every single mistake becomes a personalized, targeted lesson pushing you forward exactly where you need it most. Outro.
Wow. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What does this all mean for you, our listener, as you continue on your incredible English journey? We've uncovered, I think, a truly transformative truth today. That genuine fluency isn't just about passively absorbing information, filling that kitchen pantry.
Not just collecting ingredients.
Not just collecting ingredients. It's about bravely, consistently trying to create, to speak, and to write, even if it feels awkward, even if it's imperfect. And yes, sometimes even if it feels a little bit painful at first.
Stepping into the kitchen.
Stepping into the kitchen. It's about stepping courageously into that discomfort, recognizing it not as a sign you're failing, but as an undeniable signal of profound growth. Your brain is literally building itself.
Building those connections.
Building those connections. And crucially, it's about fundamentally reframing every single mistake. Not as failure, not as a source of embarrassment,
But as a clue.
but as a vital, highly personalized clue on your unique language learning adventure. So embrace the struggle. Truly lean into it, because that's precisely where the most profound, the most deeply etched, and the most lasting growth actually happens.
That's where the muscle gets built.
That's where your brain builds those new, strong, agile muscles for spontaneous, confident communication.
Indeed. And I think the journey to fluency, viewed this way, becomes far less about flawlessly avoiding errors,
Which is impossible anyway.
which is impossible, and much more about strategically using those errors as precise, illuminating signposts. Valuable information. It's about cultivating a mindset where every stumble, every awkward moment, every linguistic misstep provides incredibly valuable feedback. Feedback pointing you directly to the next thing you need to learn or refine.
Turning mistakes into your personal curriculum.
Exactly. It's about becoming a linguistic detective in the truest sense. Always approaching your attempts with genuine curiosity, with an investigator's eye, and always asking yourself that question. What valuable insight can this mistake offer me right now? What specific piece of my English puzzle is this clue revealing, guiding me closer to my goal?
That changes the feeling completely.
It really does. This perspective transforms what many perceive as a daunting, often frustrating task into an engaging, highly personal, and ultimately, I think, a joyful quest for mastery.
A quest, an adventure.
Exactly. And this deep dive hopefully empowers you to actively seek out those clues, knowing that each one you find and learn from brings you demonstrably closer to the fluency you desire.
Absolutely. So, as you continue your English journey, our advice is simple. Remember to keep going, keep trying, and most importantly, keep growing. Don't be afraid to make those mistakes. In fact, actively look for them, welcome them, because they are your most dedicated personal teachers lighting the way forward.
They show you the path.
They really do. And the next time you find yourself in a situation where you're trying to speak English, instead of dreading making an error, ask yourself with genuine curiosity, okay, what valuable clue will I find today?
Embrace the adventure.
Embrace that adventure with open arms. That's all for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, and keep speaking.